On June 27, 1917, over 3,000 miners in Bisbee walked off the job, halting production at the mines. The strike was peaceful, but the mining companies saw it as a threat to their profits and to the war effort, as this was during the First World War and copper was a critical material for manufacturing weapons and ammunition. The mining companies and local authorities framed the strike as un-American. They accused the miners' organization of being a front for communists and anarchists, claiming the strike was sabotaging the war effort. With anti-union sentiment at an all-time high, the stage was set for drastic action. On July 12, 1917, at 6 a.m., all hell broke loose in Bisbee. The Phelps Dodge Corporation, the town's largest mining company, organized a vigilante force of 2,000 armed men called the Loyalty League. These men, deputized by the sheriff, went door to door, rounding up miners, union leaders, and anyone suspected of supporting the strike. By the end of the day, over 1,200 men had been arrested at gunpoint. They were herded into cattle cars on a train and shipped 200 miles away to a remote desert town in New Mexico called Hermanas. The men were left stranded without food, water, or shelter in the scorching desert heat. For hours they wandered the desert, many collapsing from heat exhaustion and dehydration. Eventually, local residents and Red Cross volunteers provided them with water, food, and temporary shelter. However, most of the miners were never allowed to return to Bisbee. Those who tried were threatened or turned away by armed vigilantes, forcing many to rebuild their lives elsewhere. The deportation effectively crushed the strike. The miners were left to fend for themselves in the desert, while the mining companies resumed operations in Bisbee. Back in town, the deportation was framed as a heroic act of patriotism. The deportation did spark an outrage across the country. The US Department of Justice launched an investigation, and the case even went to the Supreme Court. But in the end, no one was held accountable for the deportation. The mining companies and local authorities argued that the strike was a threat to national security and their actions were justified. God bless America, and that was that.